Predicted Houston to win both games. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Stand up! When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, black voices, black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up! I get it. I get it. Yeah. I run New York. I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Welcome to Wealth Building Wednesdays, where we center black, women, and BIPOC-owned businesses, highlight opportunities and initiatives for underrepresented entrepreneurs, and center socially innovative enterprises, building generational prosperity, fostering real networking, and recycling black dollars. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays on KBLA Talk 1580.
And my favorite thing is when I get to meet a new entrepreneur or visionary on our Wealth Building Wednesday, live and in person, and that is what is happening today. She's the founder and CEO of Touch Up Incorporated. It's a nonprofit 501c3 dedicated to bridging the digital divide, providing technology education and workforce development for underserved and at-risk youth. Caryn Brandon, thank you for coming in.
Hey, Dominique. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so nice to meet you.
Very exciting.
And we're doing kind of I guess we're having a tech day today. We'll have folks from Tech Lamert in later talking about, among other things, green technology. It is Earth Day.
Oh, wow.
Happy Earth Day to you. And you're doing a thing, Compton Tech Week is right now. It's not way in the future.
No.
It's right this minute.
It's happening, and we're tired. It's day 3.
Well, thanks for coming in the middle of the marathon.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, it's a full week of immersive technology training. Our young people who are attending get a taste of every aspect, almost every aspect of accounting. So far, we've had cybersecurity and, there's so many. My mind is escaping me. We're having drones. We have app development today. We've had Snapchat came out yesterday and did this whole segment on augmented reality, which was so fun. They have some new glasses that will be coming out that will be competing with Meta. I think they're more technologically advanced than Meta, actually. So the kids got to sample those glasses. They had a bunch of fun doing that. Oh gosh, they've learned how to put together computers. Did I mention cybersecurity? We have a seminar on cybersecurity.
Yeah, which is a growth area, right?
Absolutely.
If you want a job, if you want to have some job security, I would think cybersecurity would be one way to go.
That's the point of Compton Tech Week, is that we take kids who have obviously challenged backgrounds. We have underserved youth, at-risk youth, probation youth, aged out foster youth, and our 3 to 4 block of programming every day is streamed out to the juvenile facilities. So we actually have incarcerated youth attending from 3 to 4 o'clock every day via Zoom.
That's amazing.
We're so proud of that. Yeah, so they actually log in and they're there.
As you should be, because it's hard to get through those walls now. It didn't used to be like that, but it is now.
Yeah. So I mean, the point of this event is to give young people a taste of technology, help them to determine what trajectory they'd like to go down in the technology field. And then so they sample a little aspect of every area of technology, and then afterwards we do long-term programming for young people who want to go deeper in depth in terms of their training.
Long-term programming meaning that they're going to stay in a course of study.
Stay in a course of study, yes. When we finish Tech Week, we're going to be pivoting towards the juvenile facilities. So starting September, we launch training in 6 juvenile facilities. We actually go into the facilities and teach. And then, we'll be doing long-term programming in our own facility as well.
It's funny because the stereotype is that young people automatically know technology. And
Right.
I think during COVID, I know that's when I realized that is not automatically true. My child is very tech savvy.
Right.
But even he wasn't really doing great with that, whatever that educational
Yep.
terrible software that they used to get through classes
Yeah.
under COVID. A lot of the children that are not tech savvy. They might know how to use their phone. They may know how to scroll
gadgety.
on Instagram. Yeah, they're gadgety, right?
They're gadgety, yeah. They're gadgety, and they pick up tech very quickly. They do, but they need guided instruction. I think that's where the difference is. We assume that because they know how to work phones, they use them all of the time, or tablets, because they use them all of the time. We throw everything at them and go fix it.
Right.
Work it, fix it. You should know because you do this stuff all of the time.
Right, you're a digital native, so you should know this.
Exactly.
But they don't automatically
They
know.
don't.
And what do you find, like, when they start getting into your program? I'm sure you're seeing it right now during
Yeah.
Compton Tech Week.
Sure.
What kind of responses do you get from the children?
It's mixed, interesting. So many of them are excited and inquisitive. I mean, we had a person come out and teach radio technology. And I didn't stay for that class. Usually I try to listen in. I didn't stay for that class. I had, other places I had to be, but I can tell you that class ran over. It was supposed to be 1 hour, it went 2. So we had to reformat the day because the kids asked so many questions in that class. They were so entrenched into that program that we had to just let it go. We didn't want to interrupt when they were, that attentive and engaged. So the vast majority of them are just absorbing this information. I feel like it's information they needed. It's the holes they needed to fill. Like you said, we assume they know so much.
Yeah, we think because we are older and clueless that means they're automatically educated. But to me, that's a great sign that you would just say, you know what, they're paying attention on this topic, so let's just let this one go.
Listen, if you have their attention, let it go. And these kids yesterday, they love that class. We thought they'd be more excited about apps and the fun stuff, gaming. This was an intense class, and they learned a lot about the history of ham radio and where it all began, and they were very, very engrossed.
Wow, that's wild. I love that.
Yes.
Were they, did you have a lot of young people thinking about this as a career? Are they thinking about AI?
Yeah, so every morning from 8 to 9, we hold a breakfast speaker series. So we have had so far the Los Angeles County Department of Youth Development. We had the mayor come out on the first day to kick everything off. We had another nonprofit organization in Compton, a big one called Unearthed and Empowered, and they came out, and the focus has been career. The focus has been what happens after Compton Tech Week. What are your thoughts about your future, and really absorb what you're getting here. This is about providing you with some basic skills or information that might help you to grow into a career down the road that offers enough income that you can sustain your life, especially if you're going to be here in Los Angeles.
Right, and that's a little bit enough ahead of the curve, so by the time you graduate, whatever information you have is not obsolete, right?
Exactly.
Because the tech world changes really fast.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. You got to stay on top of tech training. And that's why we're here, is to make sure that we train and keep you on top of emerging technology, the evolution of technology as it moves daily, literally. So,
as a parent, I remember having I will call it a discussion, not an argument, with a group of moms and a couple dads talking about our kids and their futures, and everyone's obsessing and worried about their kids being prepared for the future. And I know technology changes every second, but on the other hand, I say, like, if you can read,
Yeah.
write, and arithmetic, you
Exactly.
can do a lot of things. And
Sure.
you can correct me if I'm wrong here because you're the expert. But I think that if you're boring on Facebook, you're going to be boring in real life. If you're boring in real life, you're going to be boring on AI.
Yeah.
If to me, it's not the platform.
It's the person.
It's the content, right?
The content, and it's what you make it. That's just I think a basic rule of life. It's life
True.
is what you make it.
Life is what you
Yeah.
make it. But what would you advise, like, parents who are going, oh, parents tend to rush from one thing to another. Oh, we need whole child learning. They all need to, do Reiki. Oh, they all need to take, it's
Yeah.
STEM. Nothing else
Yeah.
matters. Like, I think we kind of have this panic.
Sure.
I call it the education arms race, where people are just, now obviously some children don't have the benefit of
Yeah.
parents that are bugging out and putting them in every enrichment.
Yeah.
But the other extreme, especially with black parents,
Yeah.
is trying to prepare them for a future. And
Right.
right now, I think the panic is the panic of the month is AI. How
Yeah.
would you suggest that we as parents prepare or help our children navigate what we see on the horizon and what we see not on the horizon here right now, this minute, with AI?
I would say investigate it. Listen, I understand the fears. There are a lot of fears about what AI can bring and develop into our future. And I understand that AI has to be monitored and controlled, and AI is. There are some capabilities there that are very scary. AI can develop into a very powerful. What do we want to call it? It's not a program. I don't know. Do you want to call it entity? I mean, entities.
I mean, yeah, I always wonder, because I'm old enough to have
Sure.
lived through Y2K, like, how much of that is hype,
Yeah.
and how much of it is really real.
Yeah.
Like, I've been told, no, you can't just unplug the doggone thing. At a
No.
certain point, it can self-replicate and spread viruses and.
Again, we're talking about the people behind AI. I mean, it's all about what the intention is of the people who are behind the development of AI. And we want to hope, because I think what we've learned since Trump has been in office, and I don't want to go down the political arena because that's a whole nother discussion, is that we're not as powerful as we thought we were. And we have been entrusting our future in the hands that we've been into people, and the hands of people that we don't know anything about, and politicians that we don't know anything about. Really.
Politicians and corporations, yeah.
And I think what we've learned is that we probably need to start caring a little bit more than we do about what is being developed scientifically, technologically. We need to care a little bit more, be a little bit more informed, ask more questions, get more involved, start learning ourselves. We don't want to leave this training in the hands of our kids. We want to know ourselves. It's important. I think we as parents, and I have 3 adult sons, and believe me, when I started this organization, tech was not our focus. It was recidivism reduction was our focus.
Yeah.
We kind of evolved into this
Where we are
organization
now.
that provides tech training. But as a parent, tech wasn't my focus. I'm an accountant by trade. I'm a career accountant. My kids were smart. They knew tech. That was all that I needed to know. If I needed anything, I could go to them and go, can you fix this? Can you tell me how to do this?
What a lot of us do,
what we
yeah.
parents do is rely on our kids thinking they know everything. It's critical that we start learning technology, that we start focusing in. It's critical. It's the future. It's being developed. It's being manipulated, and we need to know how, why, when, and where, period.
Caryn Brandon is my guest. She's the founder and CEO of TouchUp Inc. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward. I do want to get into the origins of your organization and more. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, This is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot-stomping, heart-stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Conversation continues with Caryn Brandon, founder and CEO of the nonprofit Touch Up Inc. They're bridging the digital divide. They're providing tech education and workforce development for underserved, at-risk youth. And this, you said you're a lifetime accountant.
Yeah.
This did not start as a theory. This was real personal for you, right?
Yeah. So, one day I woke up and decided to start this organization because I have 3 sons. I was a single mother. I raised 3 sons. They were adults now. My oldest son did some time in prison. I have my youngest played football, UCLA, went to college, got his master's degree. One went to the Air Force, and one, decided to make some bad judgment calls and found himself in prison. I started this organization while he was in prison, and the reason is because as a single mother, I worked so hard to raise those kids what I thought was the right way. I went to every sports practice. They played all the sports. I wanted them to have mentors and, work with a team to develop a sense of, team and have a support system. And this oldest one is Gate. He's gifted, smart, and I put him in the best schools. I moved them to Santa Clarita to get them out of L.A. proper because at the time, gangs were rampant and I didn't want them getting caught up, or I was nervous as a single mom about them moving about the city. So I took them out to the 30 miles north, which might have been the biggest mistake because they got out there and dealt with other issues. We went to Santa Clarita when Santa Clarita was diversifying, and they dealt with a lot of racism in Santa Clarita.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that probably had a huge impact, especially on my oldest son who was in high school. at the time that he started making bad judgment calls. And long story short, he ended up having a couple of stints with the law, but then found himself doing a prison stint. And I thought, man, I worked really hard for this kid. You know, I was there for him. I worked really hard, and he still made the bad judgment calls and ended up going to prison. And when he comes out, he's going to have the stigma as a felon attached to him. And he doesn't come from a bad family. He has grandparents who, you know, grandmother has a doctorate. His grandfather's an engineer. You know, we have a great family. But he's going to come out and just be a kid who went to prison. And the society is going to see him as a kid who failed and whose family failed him and who, you know, is a waste. That's how society views young people who make bad decisions, make young decisions, and come out of the system. And so I decided that I wanted to put together a program for young people coming out of the system and approach it from the perspective of a mother who has had a young child in the system, who was at the time wasn't even out of the system, but I wanted to prepare for his future. And I wanted to reach out to young people who have been through what he was going through, coming from families that weren't necessarily neglectful. And in some cases, there are families who are neglectful, but I would say in the vast majority of cases, parents love their kids and do the best for their kids. And kids, especially with an adolescent brain, make adolescent decisions that cost them
adult consequences.
Adult consequences.
Yeah.
So I reach out to young people and I try to inspire them through other people. I bring people together to bring inspirational messages, which is the purpose of this breakfast series. Compton Tech Week is not just about tech. We have City National Bank coming out today to do a whole panel discussion on financial literacy.
Nice.
Yeah, the Department of Youth.
A lot of us need that.
Yeah, I'm going to be sitting in on that one too, and I'm an accountant.
Okay.
And then, you know, we have YWCA coming out tomorrow, the Survivors Empowerment Group, who are going to come out and do a session with them. We want to start the day each morning with some inspiration and some motivation and talk about the future. Those breakfast series doesn't relate to tech at all. It's not about tech. It's about the young person and connecting to the young person, and then they go into their classes. But yeah, our organization, and you know, I'm not saying that we're the only ones who do this, but as a mom, who, especially a single mom, who went through this with my son, without very much support. My family was there, but they're all distant. Everybody's moved out of state. Everybody's scattered and left to L.A. So I was kind of the only one left in L.A. You know, that was really tough. It was tough emotionally. It was tough spiritually. It's still tough because my son is out and he still struggles. He just struggles emotionally with what happened. This was a kid who was smart and a gorgeous, handsome kid who took a hit socially, came out, and, you know, people had grown up. He did 9.5 years in prison.
Wow.
People moved on. They grew up. They got married. His girlfriend got married and had kids. And so he came out into a different world, and he's still struggling with the social impact that going to prison
Re-entry, is more than a notion.
It's more than a notion. So, I try to grab these kids from a perspective of understanding from the perspective of feeling that pain myself, seeing it happen to this day, seeing the impact of prison, and I try to grab the kids before they get there.
Yeah.
So this is also about preventing young people from going down that road and redirecting them, offering them other options.
But it sounds like it's working. I mean, you have, from what I understand, zero recidivism with the young people that are going into that are in your program, meaning they're not going back in.
No.
They're not going back into prison.
No.
That's during a 1-year period of following up.
Yes.
And then the coding program I'm reading at Job Corps, almost 80% of the young people are finishing that.
Yeah. We're not doing coding. Job Corps, that was some time ago that we had the Job Corps program. We were working on that. I moved to Maryland. So what happened to our nonprofit is that I dropped a bomb in it. I fell in love with the guy that's behind the wall back there. Jeffrey is back there.
Yeah.
He's a Marylander, and we met. We were both cyclists. We rode bikes. We were cyclists, road bikes at the time. We met in a road cycling group and fell in love, and I drew the stick and ended up moving to Maryland because my kids were old enough there at the time in college, and he had a young one, so I had to go. So I moved to Maryland with the intention of continuing here, but it was very difficult, especially because COVID hit.
Yeah.
And post-COVID, really, it was very difficult to maintain the nonprofit here in LA. So I sort of stopped for a while and then restarted. So coding was a part of the first.
I gotcha.
The first.
Well, congratulations to you and Jeffrey.
Thank you.
And you keep saying single mom, but I see this big bling bling ring. So I guess that was the last.
That was
chapter.
back in the day.
So we just have about a little over a minute here. How can people, if they want to get their young person involved, how can they do that?
First and foremost, bring them out to Tech Week. Listen, register on ComptonTechWeek.com. I know that LA Unified and Compton Unified kids are in school, but we also have a Zoom segment from 3 to 4. You can certainly attend. Come on out. Register Compton Tech Week. You can reach me at Caryn, Caryn, at touchuptech.org with any questions or inquiries or suggestions at any point in time. Saturday, the YWCA is hosting a resource fair at the Douglas Dollarhide Community Center in Compton, which is where Compton Tech Week is taking place. Come on out to the resource fair. There are going to be lots of organizations out there you can speak with about housing, psychology, you name it, food insecurity, anything going on in your world. The resource fair will be able to provide you with some folks to talk to. But by all means, hey, if you're in Compton and you want to just stop by and take a look at Compton Tech Week happening, come on in. We have a big registration desk in the front. You can register and come through. If you're interested in our program, just reach out to me or info@touchuptech.org. Info@touchuptech.org is another option.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and thanks for all the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much. Shout out to my team, everybody that's over there right now setting up tables. Yeah. We're on the way.
All right, we appreciate the team. We appreciate the work y'all do, too.
Yes.
We got the phone lines wide open. Next on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Justice Department is accusing the Southern Poverty Law Center of fraud, alleging it funneled donor money to individuals tied to extremist groups. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche.
The SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred.
The SPLC says it's cooperating with a federal probe and denies any wrongdoing. Federal authorities have arrested a Shreveport man in Louisiana accused of supplying the gun used in a mass shooting that killed 8 black children. The Justice Department says 56-year-old Charles Ford illegally gave the rifle to the gunman and lied to investigators. And Drake has announced a new album titled Iceman, revealed through a viral ice installation in downtown Toronto. It drops May 15th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour, weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new Chili Crisp Dumplings, paired with a premium beverage drink, like our new Strawberry Watermelon Lemonade Energy Refresher, both for just $5, only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are showing signs that they are not as handicapped as people thought they would be without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. In their absence Tuesday night, the Lakers got big-time performances from Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard. Throw in a strong game from LeBron, 28 points and 7 assists, and the Lakers put together an impressive 101-94 win over the Houston Rockets. The Lakers are up 2-0 in the best-of-7 first-round playoff series. Game 3 is Friday night in Houston. The Rockets hope to have a game plan by then on what to do with Smart Smart and Kennard. Smart had 25 points, 7 assists, and 5 of the Lakers' 11 steals. Kennard dropped 23 points. In the 2 playoff games against the Rockets, Kennard has scored 49 points. He and Smart combined for 8 of the Lakers' 13 three-pointers. The odds makers in Vegas are quiet this morning. They predicted Houston to win both games. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face. And we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass. And affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Hi, I'm Fred Martin, founder of Compton Kids Club. I just want to talk about the authenticity and tell y'all about my homeboy, Tom Steyer. Tom is a rock star. When I met him, Tom gave a grant to schools in San Francisco. All the kids were on probation. We were flying instructors for 2 years to come and help those kids doing performing arts and turning their life around. Some of the kids that he supported, they've graduated from UCLA. Let's fast forward. Tom is in schools in Compton, hanging out with the kids in the piano classes. Brother Tom Steyer hangs out in the studio with us. These are the seeds that he's planted. This has nothing to do with elections. What's coming out of his mouth is not a campaign speech. It's authentic, and when he say he walks away from a business because he want to do his values, he ain't making that up because he's running for governor. This man is real.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want and skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
All right, so it is the perfect time to call me, and 800-920-1580. That's the number if you want to get in. In addition, you can weigh in our YouTube conversation, which is at KBLA 1580 on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook. We got a lot going on. Man, I had a great time last night. I went to the charitable fundraiser. They call it a Glam Slam fundraiser in honor of Prince, his 10th anniversary. And that one was put on by Maite, his former wife, as an extension of the charitable work they did together. And it was really It was really nice. It was well attended, packed house, and lots of music. Just music, music, music. Many of Prince's, the musicians that played with him over the years, and including Sheila E. and others. It was really nice. So shout out to Maite Garcia for putting on a beautiful program in his honor. Shout out to the LA Jazz Festival Foundation for supporting that. And of course, her Live for Love charities supports young people in the arts, which is near and dear to my heart. So that was a beautiful thing. You can find out more. Check out Live for Love Charities on Instagram. That's the number 4. And that's their handle. They're everywhere. So Republicans having another FAFO moment on yesterday. You'll recall that President Trump asked Arizona to gerrymander in the middle of the census. Usually we redistrict every 10 years using the census data. Well, this time the president wanted more seats in Congress because Republicans have a very thin majority. So he asked Arizona to come up with more seats. Texas, I should say. Texas. Not Arizona. Texas. And they complied. Then Democrats started pushing back, starting with California. We passed Prop 50, which gave us a bunch more seats. Us meaning Democrats. Yes, I'm still in that party. Progressive wing, barely hanging on by my fingernails, but I'm still in. And so we picked up 5 seats here in California to counteract what they did in Texas. It was even named the anti-election rigging legislation. Well, now Virginia has passed their own gerrymandering bill, which could give 4 extra seats to Democrats in Virginia. This is a big win for Dems. We're talking just a handful of seats that could make the difference between who controls the House of Representatives. So this is really good news. I always talk about palate refreshers. Breathe this one in. 4 seats is massive. And the reason I call it FAFO is because Trump started this mess. He's the one that said, hey, Texas, hey, Governor Abbott, we need more seats. Redraw those maps. He's the one that started this. And lo and behold, right now it's not looking good for them. Now, I know and I understand because I've had many political scientists explain to me that if Republicans gerrymander every state house that they control and Democrats do every one that they control, the Republicans win because they have control of more large state houses with the wiggle room to move seats from blue to red than Dems do. But what I said with Prop 50, which turns out to be playing out as correct so far, is that they're not automatically going to win in every state where they could win. And some of the places where they could do gerrymandering, where Republicans could do their own version of a Prop 50, it's just not going to happen because lawmakers won't go along with it, or the timing will be off, or they won't have the momentum for whatever reason. That appears to be how it's playing out right now. Well, we shall see. We know that the National Democratic Party leaders really put their thumb on the scale in Virginia. Hakeem Jeffries and others spent time working on this Virginia bill and pushing it through. And they did that by reminding people that if we don't get control of the House of Representatives, President Trump is going to continue to do anything and everything that he wants all of the time for another 2 years until he gets out of office. This 2026 election, the midterm election, means if we lose the House and the Senate, means 2 more years of unfettered Project 2025 being put in action. And they're doing it very quickly. It means more crazy spending priorities. It means just a continuation of the terror that we're seeing right now, wrecked not just on our country, but on the entire Western Hemisphere and the world by this administration. And that strategy appears to have worked in Virginia. The president, for whatever reason, didn't spend time trying to stop this. Apparently, he jumped in on election day and tried to weigh in, but it was the last minute, and this is a loss for them. We Democrats may have picked up 4 seats in Virginia, and with the number of Republicans who are retiring, fleeing, I'll call it, along with some of these Democratic pickups, it looks like there's a pretty strong chance that we could take the House of Representatives. The Senate's going to be a taller order, but with the low approval ratings of this president and the First Lady, and the very low approval of the war in Iran, I think there is a chance, a small chance, we could pick up both houses. That would be amazing, because then we could get things done. But at least if we only get the House of Representatives, Democrats can block some of this agenda. Now, that's going to assume that we, the people, put enough pressure on them to do it, to do more than write strongly worded letters, to do actual legislation and really grow a backbone in some cases. Meanwhile, the president has announced an extension of the ceasefire with Iran, which is hilarious to me because we're blockading them, they're firing on us, and they've walked away from the table. So how are you extending a thing that doesn't exist or doesn't appear to exist? And also, right now, I have whiplash from trying to keep up with this man, what this man is saying. First, he said that this is yesterday. First, he said he expected to be bombing, and then a couple hours later, he says he's extending a ceasefire, even though we're in the middle of a blockade. The president says he's going to extend the ceasefire, the truce, until Iran submits their proposal for peace. But if they're not at the table, what does that even mean? Meanwhile, J.D. Vance's trip to Islamabad has been postponed. It's, you know what, I agree with the conversation that me and Jarrett were having yesterday, in that it's dangerous to assume that this man is just crazy or just an idiot, because number one, he's surrounded by strategists who are efficiently and aggressively implementing their anti-democratic agenda of Project 2025. I mean, he's getting all this stuff done. How stupid can he be? So I think the question to start asking is, what are they up to, rather than why are they so stupid? Is it so that he can say one thing to one group and one thing to another group? You know, while his oil baron friends are making a killing over the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, but his grocery store moguls and other moguls that sell things that are now super expensive are getting dinged. Is he trying to talk out at both ends of his mouth? Like, there has to be a reason. I'm starting to think that the narrative that says this guy's an idiot and he has dementia, even though he appears to, is actually naive. That all of the craziness, all of the seeming erratic behavior is strategic in some way. Because how are they getting so much done and robbing of us of our rights, of lining their coffers with billions? Not their coffers, their actual pockets. How are they doing all that if they're just stupid and crazy? Maybe he's crazy like a fox. Or maybe he does have dementia, but the people around him know how to, juice him up and get him to be that sales guy that makes this stuff at least palatable enough to the American people that it gets done. And by the time people realize they hate it, it's already the law of the land, or we're already at the war. 800-920-1580, that's the number to call if you want to weigh in on this or many other things that are going on right now. Yeah, he's supposedly waiting for a proposal from Iran. Iran fired on 3 ships and seized 2 of them today in the Strait of Hormuz. I'm just not thinking that's not what you're doing if you're writing a peace proposal. I could be wrong. And the U.S. is also seizing ships. So I think ceasefire looks like a fig leaf to me. A fig leaf. It's covering up their intentions. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. That's the number to call if you want to weigh in. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, this is Dr. Rosa Milligan calling authors and business owners to register now for Black Writers on Tour plus Business plus AI Expo, Saturday, April 25th, 10 to 4 p.m. at the Carson Event Center.
Learn how to write, publish, and sell your book. Business owners are looking for you now. Let them know where you're at. Call 323-750-3592. Free admission and parking. You heard right, free. Powerful seminar lineup. Go to blackwritersontour.com and register today. 323-750-3592.
Literacy is everybody's business. Black Writers on Tour at the Carson Event Center, Saturday, April 25th, 10 to 4. See you there, 323-750-3592. Visit blackwritersontour.com. Don't you miss it.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580. Happy Earth Day. It is Earth Day all around the world, and I've been tracking, as we all have, the way that this administration has been dismantling the climate progress that we've made, the commitments that we've made, and moving away from green energy. And this means that now we are the weirdos on the planet. We are the outliers. We're the ones that are doing the least to save the planet. And the deregulation that this administration has put on us in every aspect, challenging California's emissions rules and all of these moves to make the world dirtier, so that all of us can look like the inside of the president's intestinal tract, which is full of McDonald's and Diet Coke. In any case, in other words, it was this year that now the federal government decided that they have no legal authority to fight climate change, the climate emergency. And we're now at a point where we actually don't even have any laws left or regulatory agencies who will track how energy efficient our cars and trucks need to be. That's because this administration, from the moment he took office, has been moving to get rid of all regulations. It was this year that they killed something called the endangerment finding, and that is the Environmental Protection Agency's duty to keep track of and regulate greenhouse gases because of their threat to human health. So that means that, according to one environmental protections official, Margot Ogue, the U.S. no longer has any emission standards. You can you can drive Fred Sanford's truck. In other words, you can drive anything, nothing. And that is something that very few other countries have. I don't know if any other countries have, which is crazy because you're talking about one of the richest nations in the world and presumably one of the most technologically advanced. But as of now, it's basically saying go suck a tailpipe when it comes to gas emissions. We are not going to regulate what comes out of these cars, which means that car makers have no incentive to do greener technology. Well, I guess the natural incentive is because gas is so expensive, maybe more people will buy electric cars, but that's hardly a government incentive. So, in other words, there's no more endangerment finding as of 2026, as of February. That means there is no longer... Environmental Protection Agency no longer has a duty to protect you from what comes out the back of cars. And that's just one of the many, many things that have changed under this administration. At the same time, you've got RFK and their Department of Health and Human Services saying it's the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. How can you be making America healthy again when you removed emissions standards so that now people with asthma, people with prior conditions can breathe in an endless amount of toxic emissions? RFK says he's going to, quote, transform the nation's food, fitness, air, water, soil, and medicine. Really? By making us breathe in toxic fumes, carbon monoxide? He says he's going to reverse the childhood chronic disease crisis, except for one of the big indicators of chronic childhood diseases, like asthma, is exposure to pollutants in your formative years. In other words, while your body is growing into a full-grown entity, if you're breathing a bunch of carbon monoxide and other emissions, you're more likely to have chronic childhood diseases. So in other words, they are just lying. I mean, I know that for some people, RFK, some of my holistic friends, was like a bright spot in this administration. But if you look at the way they are going along with the deregulation of car emissions, for example, it doesn't line up. They're saying one thing and doing another. At the same time, they've deregulated some of the pesticides. So some of these cancer-causing carcinogenic chemicals and these chemicals that have been known to alter human reproductive systems, right? Your private parts, in other words, have been let back into the food supply by the very administration that claims they're going to be transforming the nation's food, fitness, air, water, soil, and medicine. Well, that'll transform it, but not for the healthier. Okay, let's go to Fred from LA. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. One question, but let me give you my impeccable credentials. In 2007, I retired from the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power as a trucking equipment dispatcher A. It really is my job to restore order in Pacific Palisades and grade and rate.
Okay, you kind of have told us that stuff, and we got 60 seconds, so I just want you to get to your question.
The White House ballroom, what would be the objection to anybody against Trump putting in a new ballroom free? If he does anything wrong, the last thing he wants is me to call you and tell you what he's doing wrong.
Ain't nothing free, Fred, and you know that. I know you might have been born at night, but you weren't born last night. And here's the thing. It ain't free. When those tech companies step up and they start giving you checks with lots of zeros, they have an agenda in mind. It is not for free. There's that. And then there's the fact that we have protocols. The White House is an historic site. You can't just come in there with a wrecking ball. You have to go through the historical societies. You have to get approvals. And the president did not do that. And the other thing is he lied because he said it was going to be, first he said they weren't going to do any demolition. Then they did demolition. He said it was going to be small. It's getting bigger, and bigger. Now it looks like it's bigger than the whole White House, to name a few small objections. Fred, thank you for your question. We will be talking tech. We're talking green technology, AI, and much, much more when we come forward. Happy Earth Day from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Justice Department is accusing the Southern Poverty Law Center of fraud, alleging it funneled donor money to individuals tied to extremist groups. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche.
The SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred.
The SPLC says it's cooperating with a federal probe and denies any wrongdoing. Federal authorities have arrested a Shreveport man in Louisiana accused of supplying the gun used in a mass shooting that killed 8 black children. The Justice Department says 56-year-old Charles Ford illegally gave the rifle to the gunman and lied to investigators. And Drake has announced a new album titled Iceman, revealed through a viral ice installation in downtown Toronto. It drops May 15th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour, weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new Chili Crisp Dumplings, paired with a premium beverage drink, like our new Strawberry Watermelon Lemonade Energy Refresher, both for just $5, only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are showing signs that they are not as handicapped as people thought they would be without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. In their absence Tuesday night, the Lakers got big-time performances from Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard. Throw in a strong game from LeBron, 28 points and 7 assists, and the Lakers put together an impressive 101-94 win over the Houston Rockets. The Lakers are up 2-0 in the best-of-7 first-round playoff series. Game